Hello and welcome, it's Francis here. Thank you for coming back to my channel. If this is your first time here, I bid thee welcome. There is a subscribe button and a bell below if you want to be notified when I upload more content. And I do that on a rather ad hoc basis on a whole range of subjects that I find of interest. So this video is going to be a little bit more astrologically focused, and I will be making reference to Pam Gregory and also Molly McCord, because both of these astrologers have come up with rather interesting points in relation to this conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune, which is a bit of a rare conjunction, especially happening in the astrological sign of Pisces. And the last time, according to Pam Gregory, that this conjunction happened was in 1856, so that's a long time ago, over 150 years ago. Don't know my maths at the top of my head. And at this time there were apparently large floods in France in particular, but also throughout Europe. And a possibility of that could be because Pisces is a mutable or unbounded water sign, so it's unconstricted. Neptune, if you know your mythology, the Lord of the Sea, is the ruler, the planetary ruler of Pisces, and Jupiter is the planet associated with expansion. So we're talking about big, expansive water, and that could also mean not only physical water, but also emotional water as well. So Pam also mentions there's a number of issues surrounding Neptune that maybe we should just take note, because Neptune also is related to toxins and pollutions. It relates to altered states of consciousness, confusion, illusion, delusion, lies, deceits, where things are not what they seem to be. And when Jupiter expands on these issues, they can either be intensified, like with the water and the flooding, but they could also be opened up, like a revelation will be happening. And it's interesting too, because Neptune also relates to areas in film, media, video, all the sort of sleight of hand things, creating a new reality that is a little bit superficial. Neptune also, and this is what I find of interest, is connected with fuel or oil. And with Jupiter expansions, does this mean, or is it related to our increased oil prices that we are seeing due to the Ukraine invasion by Russia? Interesting, just something putting it out there. Molly McCord is another astrologer that I find of interest, and she mentions that this conjunction creates an amplified experience on all the Piscean themes, because, as I've mentioned earlier, Neptune rules Pisces. So these are also energies in relation to the other realms. Neptune moved into Pisces a number of years ago, 2011, so that we've been working with the sort of Neptunian energy for over 10 years now, becoming more aware of higher forces, spirit guides, trusting our intuition. Jupiter, again, as I said, expands all this, amplifies and also exaggerates. But Jupiter answers to Neptune and Pisces, so adding more water. And I find this is quite interesting because this year we have had, especially here in Australia, in northern New South Wales and Queensland, and we're still having them, huge problems with water being expanded, lots of flooding. So Jupiter and Neptune will be traveling together from around about the 9th of April, so that was a few days ago, until the 17th. That's later on this week, or just after Easter actually. And so this energy is intensifying around this time. Then we also have Venus and Mars, also Venus first, then Mars entering Pisces. And this is quite significant because this equates to a spectrum of possibilities, potentials, revelations, and how we could be opening up to this Piscean energy, our ability to trust what we are feeling, our intuition, and also any sort of higher connections with our higher self. Pisces wants us to take the ego out of things and to see things from a higher perspective. It's the expansion aspect. But we need to be aware as to what is speaking to us energetically, because the negative aspects of Pisces can lead to escapisms, victimhood, powerlessness, addictions, feeling lost or depressed, feeling disencouraged, and even detached by things. So it is important to allow these energies or feelings that we are experiencing to actually move through and not be caught up in the physical body. It's also an important time to take note of our dreams. As I said, trust our intuition. Be aware of water sources around us, and also things that we cannot see, because Neptune in particular relates to the in-between worlds as well. The sharing of energy, viruses. So Molly talks about reminding us to be vigilant with our self-care. Because Pisces is at the end of the astrological cycle, it can be related to endings, completions, that karmic contracts are finishing or have finished. So there could be a lot of endings that we're experiencing as things have run their course, both spiritually and energetically. This can also add to our feelings of abandonment, confusion, uncertainty, because we're beginning to move up on a more soul level to the next life choices, and we're moving through the endings that allow us to, or free us up so we can actually do this. So if we're finding this Piscean watery energy very intense, she suggests that we look at the opposite sign, and it's Virgo, which is an earth sign. So that talks about grounding the energy, finding solutions, and focusing on things like just what you can do today. Don't worry about the bigger picture, just what can you do today, especially if you're beginning to feel overwhelmed and like you've taken on too much. Neptune's higher purpose is the ability to find a higher order in what is otherwise void of meaning. So we have to open ourselves up to this potential, and it will help us to find these patterns that tend to be invisible to the naked eye. And this is sort of like the secret language of the universe, talking in symbolisms and symbology, listening to our dreams. But again, be aware of the negative Pisces, that we don't sort of get too almost paranoid and bogged down into that area. Remember too that Pisces is about letting go, to go with the flow. And maybe this is a good time, if you want to get your journals out, to write down or have a think about what you have completed, especially on a soul level, on a deeper level. Again, it's because this is the end of the astrological cycle. Allowing ourselves for this divine feminine energy, because Pisces is the feminine sign, with the intuition, the spiritual growth, and also the rise of the divine feminine expression to come through and to connect with this. And it doesn't matter if you're male, female, or non-binary, there is a rise of this feminine energy coming through that will set us up as the new cycle continues. And as we open ourselves up to this feminine energy, it opens us up to being more compassionate and experiencing or receiving the unconditional love that we need so much in our life. There's an element of freedom, of the integration of our higher self, which is the divine feminine, as well into our physical self as well. especially as we learn to let go of these soul contracts, these energetic obligations, I guess, which are ending, and beginning to accept or wait, going with the flow, that the new ones will come through. It might be a good time to meditate, opening yourself up to become more receptive for the incoming energies. As both Neptune and Jupiter rule Pisces, they are both supporting each other. So you are opening yourself up, so you're being supported, opening yourself up and to be more receptive to this energy. Just the word about soul contracts, allowing energies to happen for the best of all, for the highest good for all that is involved. So we're finishing up, or maybe finishing up with a soul contract. It's not a matter of who's right, who's wrong. We just need to be ready to move on, because things no longer have their desired intentions. We're no longer feeling connected with people of the past. We're no longer in alignment with them. Our goals are different. Our energies are different. And that's okay. No need to beat ourselves up about or try and find an upper hand. Just take a deep breath and relax and release. Pisces is asking us to take a step up, to take responsibility for our role that we've paid, especially in these soul contracts, and especially as they come to an end. So the conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces will be on the 12th of April. So these are just some pointers to look out for. And as I said, I'll mention the sources to read both Pam Gregory, her interpretation, and also Molly McCord's interpretation in depth. Blessings.